latest technology and the largest team of 5 meteorologists. News 12 First Alert Weather on your side.
Closed captioning for News 12 is brought to you by Kenneth Nugent.
From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 First at 5.
Ahead, first at 5, a big payout in South Carolina will help youth and the Department of Juvenile Justice. Our State House reporter takes a closer look at how they'll spend all that money.
But we begin with the woman accused of that deadly shooting spree in Midtown Atlanta. Raisa Kinye was in court today. She is facing multiple charges, including 2 counts of murder, 3 counts of aggravated assault, and 2 counts of false imprisonment. Today, police are also saying the Midtown shootings were targeted attacks.
Rebecca Schramm has more from the scene of that first shooting with a look at how the accused shooter and the victims are connected.
Residents of 1280 West condominiums described 60-year-old building manager Michael Shinners as a man who was loved by the community who could never be replaced. The widow of 41-year-old Wesley Freeman told CBS 46 via text that her husband was kind and gentle, incredibly funny, and that he never spoke an ill word of anyone. According to authorities and the building's management company, this woman, identified as 34-year-old Raisa Kinye, entered the management office at about 1:45 Monday afternoon, shooting and killing Shinners and critically wounding Mike Horn, the management company's chief engineer.
I've been in this building for 18 years. To hear something like that, this is definitely the worst day ever for this building.
While authorities were investigating that shooting, they got a call of another shooting a few blocks away on Peachtree Street. Police say that's where Kinye shot and killed Freeman. Freeman worked for the accounting firm BDO, the same firm the accused shooter lists on her LinkedIn page as a former employer. We've learned Kinye was a plaintiff in several lawsuits. In May of 2020, she was one of several residents who sued the Condo Association at 1280 West over balcony repairs. In May of this year, she filed a lawsuit against several people and entities, including the 2 murder victims, Wesley Freeman and Michael Shinners.
Our sister station in Atlanta is still working to get a copy of that specific lawsuit to confirm the details of her complaints. But of course, we'll keep you posted as new information comes in.
Strange details coming out of that situation in Atlanta yesterday. Turning to weather now, taking a look at some cloudy skies out there.
10 minutes, guys, back to you.
Not a bad looking afternoon. Anthony, thanks a lot. Richmond County investigators asking for your help finding a man wanted for aggravated assault. 41-year-old Gabriel Scott wanted a connection to an incident that happened on the 12th at Riverfront Pub and Sports Bar. He's considered armed and dangerous, last seen in a black SUV. If you have any information, call the Richmond County Sheriff's Office at the number right there on the screen.
2 years after an Atlanta police officer shot and killed Rayshard Brooks, we now know they will not face any charges. Pete Skandalakis, the special prosecutor assigned to investigate the shooting, says they did not act with criminal intent. Brooks's death led to several days of violent demonstrations that included arson and even the shooting death of an 8-year-old girl who was in a vehicle that was shot at by protesters. More fallout today from the FBI search of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. Former President Donald Trump wants to stop federal agents from going through documents seized during the search of his Florida home. He has now filed a lawsuit seeking a special master or third-party attorney to be appointed to review the documents. He's also requesting the FBI return any documents that went beyond the scope of that search warrant.
Plans are moving forward for a new facility for young people in South Carolina's juvenile justice system with the most severe mental health needs. The state legislature set aside about $20 million in the current state budget for this project.
Our State House reporter Mary Green explains why juvenile justice leaders say this need is so very pressing right now.
The executive director of the South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice says the closure several years ago of state-run residential mental health facilities for boys and girls has led to the current severe lack of bed space. She says that's translated to the state moving some of these youths with severe mental health needs as far away as out-of-state facilities if they aren't able to find the support and treatment they need at private in-state facilities.
These children have been basically just languishing in DJJ without receiving the appropriate mental health treatment that is necessary. And so that's why it's so important to begin this process of having another modernized state-run PRTS, especially for justice-involved youth.
DJJ Executive Director Eden Hendricks says under state law, these youths are also supposed to be under the care of the Department of Mental Health, not juvenile justice. Plans submitted to a legislative panel say the new residential facility in Columbia will be able to house up to 40 youths and 150 staff. It'll be run by the Department of Mental Health, but DJJ and the Department of Children's Advocacy will also be partnering. Hendricks says they want to see this project complete as soon as possible, but can't set a timeline just yet with supply chain issues and workforce shortages in the construction industry. She also says that may mean they have to ask the state for more money later, which one of the DJJ youth's major advocates in the General Assembly says should not be an issue if it's needed.
If we need future allocations, it'll be there. This is important. South Carolina's children are important.
And Director Hendricks says the goal of this new facility is that there is a bed available for every DJJ youth with severe mental health needs when they need it, without having to wait for one. But she adds that given the growing mental health crisis among children across the board, she fears that the department will outgrow this new facility once it's done if the need has risen that much. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
And another reason the facility will be under the jurisdiction of the Department of Mental Health is because of payment.
Federal law does not allow the DJJ to accept Medicaid funds, but the DMH can, so this setup also allows the state to afford this care for young people. The South Carolina Department of Employment and Workforce have reported an increase in workers quitting their jobs, and it's happening at a near-record pace in the Great Resignation. The agency said in a statement that their data shows 82,000 people had quit their jobs in June. That is tied for the second highest number on record. The Savannah River Nuclear Solutions holding an engineering and projects control recruitment fair. It's coming up this Friday. The goal is to meet emergent hiring needs. That fair will take place from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the University of South Carolina, Aiken. It's in the Student Activity Center. You can register online.
We're following this breaking news out of Atlanta. As we mentioned, 2 years after an Atlanta police officer shot and killed Rayshard Brooks, we now know they will not be facing any charges. And right now, this is Atlanta, where an attorney for Brooks' family is beginning to speak. Let's listen in.
At that point, what the special prosecutor confirmed today is it wasn't a deadly weapon when he was killed. That's from their words, not ours. And getting into the mind of the officer what should have or what he knew or didn't know, all we're asking is that the community resolves these situations when it's a close call and it goes to a grand jury, which my law partner is going to get more in depth about. Letting the people decide. That's what the family expected in this situation when you have one prosecutor say one thing, and we already knew what the decision was going to be today. And letting the people decide. So was it wrong? Yes. Did he have to take his life? No. At the point that he fired the weapon, was he immediately in danger for his life of something that is argued about, is it deadly, it is not? What if it was mace? Could he have killed him then? So we're heartbroken, confused, but not angry. No person out there should be angry. This isn't a time for unrest or division. This isn't a time to accuse every officer out there of being a bad cop, because that's just not true. There are phenomenal police officers out there in APD and across this country, people we depend on every day for our lives. But we have a responsibility to speak up when something wrong has occurred. We're destroyed by the announcement today, and we'll continue our fight in civil court, because that seems to be the only place that we can get justice, possibly, depending on the city of Atlanta and its leadership.
Again, attorneys for Rayshard Brooks speaking today in Atlanta after no charges will be filed in that case. A case, Meredith, where there was a lot of video evidence. Everything was caught on camera that happened in that Wendy's parking lot a few years ago.
Yes, and now he is vowing to continue the fight in civil court now that charges have not been filed in criminal court.
Much more to come. First at 5, historic and deadly flooding heading our way. We're going to take a look at some of the flooding concerns spreading across the southeast when we come back.
Now, as we go through the next couple of days, like you guys just mentioned, that rain is going to get closer to us. About a 60 to 50% chance at rain as we go through Thursday and Friday. That full forecast coming up next.
Time and
All that floodwater beginning to recede in the Dallas area.
People there are recovering from what's being called a one.
Free. See you downtown September 16th through 18th for art, music, food, and family fun.
All that floodwater beginning to recede in the Dallas area.
People there are recovering from what's being called a once-in-a-thousand-year storm. Omar Villafranca is in Dallas.
It was the second worst rainstorm in Dallas history, according to Texas officials, inundating roads, homes, and communities. Hundreds of people had to be rescued, and one woman died when her vehicle became submerged. Today, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed an emergency declaration for 23 counties, and it's likely the damage estimate will make the region eligible for federal disaster funds.
It appears about half of the properties in Dallas County that may be in a special flood hazard area don't have flood insurance.
The storm hit early Monday morning.
I just looked up and should I call 911? What do I do?
Brittany Taylor had just moved into her new apartment and lost almost everything.
Like my laptop, just like a lot of a lot of pictures and journals.
The flooding follows a summer of no rain in the region. Statewide, the last 4 months were the hottest on record. Weather experts say the sudden switch from drought to deluge is tied to climate change.
The current reality is continued change, continued warming, continued increase in extreme events for the foreseeable future.
The National Weather Service says the flood will make a small dent in the drought, but with low chances of more rain, the drought is expected to worsen. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Dallas.
Devastating flooding out there, and the storm system is now moving south, which will impact eventually San Antonio.
And then it's expected to move east to Louisiana and then to Mississippi. And of course, we're keeping our eyes to the skies now. First Alert meteorologist Anthony Carpino. That is a lot of green and red and colors we do not like to see on Doppler Max radar behind you.
Yeah.